Ciao ragazzi, this is Katie Portanova, and you're listening to Florence and Me. I'm a lover of stories and all things Italian, and I'm going to bring you all that in this podcast. My intention is to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and explore life and travel the world. Join me as I tell you my story and many others about Italy and my love, Florence. Andiamo! Ciao. Welcome back to Florence and Me with Katie. And I had meant to record 2 more episodes this past month. I was going for 1 a week, and that did not happen. And I apologize. I really wanted to make it happen. So I'm going to continue the series of how to travel in Europe, which I had that first episode for you all beginning of February for how to apply for your passport, which I realized a lot of people, at least around me, in my networking groups, did not have a passport. So I thought, hey, I'll show you how to do it, even though if it's through audio instead of video. But yeah, so I hope that was helpful for those that, maybe were afraid or didn't know how or just never really researched it. So I hope that was helpful. One bit of news I want to say is that I have sold out the September 2024 retreat. Yay! I have finished with marketing for that. So I'm excited. We have 6 amazing people that are joining us, and it's going to be amazing. As I always say, that should be my tagline. So today we're going to talk about layovers. And layovers, if you're not aware, international layovers in Europe are those stops you make to change planes, kind of like a bus stop, but you're on a plane. So there are a lot of people that are afraid of flying just in general alone overseas because of the duration of the flight. Now, that is a different type of fear, a different type of concern than what I was going to talk about today, but I will touch on that as we go through this. But I want to focus on the layover itself and what does it mean? What do we do? What's the process? Where do we go from exiting the plane and all the things? So usually a layover can be between an hour or less than an hour to 5, 6, 7 hours. Could be a whole 24 hours if some people like to do those. I don't really, but some people do. But yeah, those are the ranges. Personally, I like to keep my layovers less than 5 hours, just because that's more time you're spent in an airport, mostly trying to find some place to lay down and take a nap. Or you're just spending money on really not good food, because not all the airports in Europe have really good places to eat. Or it might be really expensive, like in Zurich. Zurich is incredibly expensive. For a cappuccino, it was €7, which is a lot. So those are some things to think about as well. So personally, I like to go less than that. So 2 hours, less than 2 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours is a good range to have enough time to get from one place to the other. And sometimes in Munich, Frankfurt, they have a tram that you have to take from one part of the airport to the other, which is very convenient, instead of you're not walking and running or walking fast and then sweating and everything. So there's some things to be thought about. So let's go through the process of when you get to, let's say, Munich. Okay. I think we're going through Munich in May, actually. So when you get to Munich, you usually are already given your boarding pass for that next flight from your original destination. For my destination is my original departure, which is Chicago. You probably will have the boarding pass before you leave Chicago. You'll have 2 boarding passes, one for the flight that you're taking to Munich, and the one, for example, for us, Munich to Florence. There are some times where you might have to get another boarding pass, but that's rare. After COVID and everything, it's actually gotten better. So before you would have to like check in to, anyway, I won't get into that because we're not dealing with that now. So from getting off the airport, you usually are given, and the apps are great. Like if you're flying with United, American, Delta, Lufthansa, Swiss Air, whatever, they usually are able to give you through the app like where your gate is or what the number is, like something, so you know where to go when you get off the flight. And usually wherever your gate is going to be at is going the gate to the next international European country. You are going to go through customs. Now, what is customs? Customs is where you present your passport. And there will usually are 2 different lines. One for EU residents, which means all the people that are part of the EU, all those countries there, they can go through a different type of checkpoint rather. And then visitors, which me and Stefano always go together, even though he has a European passport and I don't, just because we're traveling together. So it doesn't matter, like, in that respect. So if you're like me, an American, you would go through the visitor side. Now, what do you present to the custom agent when you arrive? All you have to present is your passport. What I normally see, and I can tell who are really regular travelers, they get really antsy and they just like give the customs agent like everything, like their boarding pass, their passport, everything. and usually they push aside your passport, your boarding pass, and be like, don't need that, just need your passport. And sometimes they ask you questions like, where are you going? And we would say Florence. How long are you going to be there? 2 weeks or a week. Work or pleasure, work or leisure, or whatever they ask. Vacation, you mostly is what we say. We never say work. So that's usually the process. And then when you go through that checkpoint, they stamp your passport. Then that's where you're going to find your gate for the flight to your final destination, which for us would be Florence. So we are then in like the domestic area of the airport, domestic flights. So that's it. Like, I mean, from that point, usually when you're in that area, and especially when we arrive, it's early in the morning, there's like nothing open like to eat. If there is, it's like vending machines or random cafes that cost way too much. And usually I pack enough snacks where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have this granola bar or other type of bar. So it'll hold me over until we get to Florence. So that's basically it. Like, I actually like the layovers at some point because it's a really cool, like experiment to people watch and like see how life passes you by and all these different people that pass through the airport. You hear all these different languages. I love hearing that. Like when you get off the airplane, you're in Germany or you're in Switzerland or you're in France or you're in Spain or I don't know, and you just hear all these different languages. And it's just like, oh my God, now I'm not in America. I'm not in my home country. It's amazing. And that's where the world like opens up to you. And it's a really cool, thing to experience, especially if you haven't. So it's really a smooth process once you get through customs, and because customs sometimes, depending on what time of day you arrive at your layover destination, it could be packed or it could be like really like there's nobody there. So for us, we usually get to these locations very early in the morning, so there's really not anyone waiting in line. So it's quite easy. But I just want to ease everyone's fears and concerns and trepidations of like arriving at a new airport, trying to figure out where to go. You will always be able to find where you need to go. I think what the key is to always know where your next your gate is to that final destination. And if you know that, the airport will take you to the place you need to be to go through customs, because you must go through customs when you arrive in Europe. Doesn't matter where you're from. You will always go through customs. And actually, on our way back this past December, we actually went through customs again in Germany to go back to the States. And then the States is different because even at the gate, you have to have your passport checked again. It's a whole, security thing. So, but yeah, so that's something just to keep in mind when you are booking your flight and you are going to Florence, for example. You're not doing a direct flight to Rome or direct flight to Milan. You decided, I want to go to Florence. I want to go to Bari. I want to go to Naples or wherever. You're going to stop, but make sure you have that window of time so you can get through customs easily and slowly and calmly, so you're not rushing. So between 2, 3, 4 hours is good. So you can relax and make sure if the gate changes, you can run to another gate. That doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. So yeah, so I hope this helps with your travels. And if you're booking a flight for the upcoming summer, just make sure you check that layover, because if it's under 12 hours, that is a quick layover. So I would recommend getting at least a flight that has a layover. It's a 12-hour total travel. So if it's 11 hours and below, usually it's 11 hours. It can't be below that. The layover will be like 50 minutes, and you're going to lose your bags. That's something that people, I think, forget about if they check their bags. And if you have a 50-minute layover in Germany or France or something, I can guarantee you that your bags are not going to make it. So maybe try more carry-on. That's what we're going to try to do this year. That's our goal. Yeah, so I'm going to end this with just when you're checking for your ticket for your next trip to Europe, Italy, France, wherever you're going, just make sure you are getting ample time to go through customs. Between 2 and 4 hours is the sweet spot. Maybe 5 is okay as well. Gives you time to relax, maybe even have lunch, take a nap, like I said. But if you're ready to get to that place, a good 2 to 3 hours is a good amount of time for you to go through customs and get to your gate and then get to your final destination. So yeah, thanks for listening. Allora, buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, wherever you are. And I will see you on the next travel series podcast episode. Thanks. Ciao, ciao. I am beyond grateful for you listening to my podcast right now. I am so excited to share my journey of living abroad and all of my stories of Florence and Italy and all the places in between that I've visited. If this has reached you in any way and you would like to continue, please subscribe now. Also, go check out my website, trulyitaly.tours, for all my travel experiences. Ci si vede. Ciao.